Hello and welcome back, and today I'll be talking about Fear the Walking Dead, and what if Madison did not try and kill Troy in Season 3, and what if Troy stayed around with the Clarks a little bit longer? How would his presence change and affect the story? And this is what we're going to be talking about today, but before we get into it, a quick thank you to JT for providing this great scenario. So let's jump right into it with what would happen in Season 3, and it would be that Madison just lets Troy run away, and Troy is not present for episode 16 of the dam explosion. However, he will return back in Season 4. He would link back up with the Clarks. Maybe he's the reason a lot of the Clarks are saved at the end of the dam. And he would spend a year and a half with Nick, with Alicia, and with Madison, and these characters would soften him down. He would no longer be this very kind of dangerous and very brutish character. With spending almost a year and a half with these characters, Troy would be a lot like a Nick in the first few episodes, where before the vultures, he would want to stay inside. He would want to just focus on farming. And Troy would really grow close to Nick and Madison, seeing them as his new family. However, the vultures come and Madison sacrifices herself, air quotes. And because you now have Troy there, he would further the group down that villainous path. He would let these evil tendencies back out. He would spiral out of control, as well as the other Clarks, everyone else who's spiraling out of control. With Troy, he would push them further. They would do way worse things than robbing people like we saw at the start of Season 4. And in Season 4, with the death of Madison, he's going back to that villainy, and then you have the death of Nick. Troy then snaps, and this one becomes too far gone, and Troy, Alicia, Strand, and Luciana will try and hunt down everyone that has wronged them, and everyone that killed Madison and Nick, and this would lead to a lot of casualties, and some of them are innocent casualties. I imagine that Troy would stick with Alicia, and those two would have this vendetta against everyone, and when they get to that swamp van, Alicia's never gonna find that tape with Madison, because when there's that big fight, Troy's there to make sure Charlie's dead, and then no one's there to pull Alicia off Althea, and Althea is going to be fed to the walkers. So we lose Charlie and Althea because of Troy around, and then when they go to the stadium, Morgan is not going to get out of the way, and that will cause a fight between Morgan and Troy, and Morgan is the better fighter, so he'll be able to quickly beat back Troy. However, this is pacifist Morgan, so Troy will not be killed, he'll just keep calm back, and Alicia would have to step in to defend Troy. However, she would side with Morgan, making Troy feel betrayed, and he would leave the group and come back in the back half as a villain alongside, but not with, Martha and the whole storm. So the back half will be very chaotic. There'll be these three different forces attacking our survivors, and he would be too far gone. He would feel betrayed by Alicia, and he would have this personal vendetta against Morgan and the entire group, and he would try and kill as many people as possible. And this will lead to Troy's death by the end of Season 4. I do not think that Alicia would be able to talk Troy down. She doesn't have that close relationship, and I don't think she would have developed that relationship with Troy while they were together. I think that Troy would have been very close to Nick and Madison, and without them and feeling betrayed by Alicia, he would not be able to be talked off that edge, and Alicia would have to put Troy down to save everyone else, while there's the whole Martha situation also going along. It would be a very chaotic Season 4, and that's how I think the Troy story would play out. It wouldn't be a Season 5 or 6 thing, because as we saw in Season 3, he would come back as soon as he can. As we saw in Season 3, he got exiled and he came immediately back. And that's what I think would happen in Season 4 again. He would leave the group and come back immediately. He is that kind of very short-sighted. He would just immediately come back and attack. And that's the ending of Troy's story. However, because Althea is dead, Season 5, the biggest difference would be that there is no discovery of the CRM, and because Charlie isn't around, Rabbi Jacob is never found by the group. And moving on to Season 6, as there's no CRM, everyone who gets on that helicopter at the end of the season dies. There's no helicopter picking them up, so that means that Sarah, Wes, Luciana, and Daniel all die at the end of Season 6 from the nuclear blast, as there's no CRM to save them. However, they are all minor characters, so the overall story arc of Season 7 is exactly the same, minus episodes here and there, and that because there's no Daniel, the Stalkers are still around, and Arnold is never taken out, and because there's no Wes, that means that the tower never gets destroyed because he isn't there to double-cross Strand when he is talked down by Alicia. However, as I said, the Stalkers are still around, so the tower would still eventually fall to the Stalkers, so the group would still have to leave and still end up a Padre, but it would happen a bit later on in the timeline, as the group could spend more time at the tower until that big final battle. And because you spend more time, Alicia would probably get better by her own and never leave the group. Going into season 8, there is no Daniel, so the militia is never formed, but you still have Alicia around and she'll be a part of that small group, and it will only just be the Padre arc, so about Morgan, Madison and Alicia, because she's still around, teaming up together to take out Padre and take it over. And it'll be a very simple story. There is no militia for the parents, sadly, so Morgan, Madison and Alicia would find a new way to take out the group, and once they take it out, Morgan leaves and that's it. Madison never sacrifices himself because there is no Troy arc. The show would end with Alicia and Madison reuniting just because Alicia would never leave, because she obviously got better in the nuclear blast zone around everyone else, as the Stalkers took way longer to take out the tower. And that is how I think it would play out. Very much the same, outside of season 4 being drastically different and being way more personal as a villain, and definitely it would improve season 4 in my opinion, having Troy around and having be a big villain. I do not think Troy would stay a good guy personally. I think with the death of Madison and Nick, and then Alicia being like, I can't kill you, okay, I'm gonna back down, Troy would take that personally, and that would lead to a big fight between those two characters. But this is just my opinion, so please tell me down below, what do you think about this what if scenario? Do you think I missed anything in this scenario, or do you agree or disagree with this scenario? But this is it for me today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you later.